Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our third official Dawn Rosa live stream. Unfortunately, the intro countdown video didn't work tonight, but no problem. Here we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and I think Twitch today too. And yeah, as last time, or as usual, I'm Yano. I'm your host tonight. Don is already there. We'll be seeing him in a moment. But first of all, for everyone who's new to this, let me quickly introduce you to all our social media where you can follow us. So, our main page is Facebook. That's facebook.com/DonRosaOfficial. We also got a group on Facebook where you can chat with other fans and Don himself. That's facebook.com/groups/DonRosaOfficial. We're on Twitter. That's @DonRosa. We're on Instagram. That's @DonRosa. And you can also, if you like, support us on Ko-fi, because if you support us, we'll be able to make future live streams even better with better equipment and stuff, because you might remember that the first live stream was pretty poor quality, at least technical wise, and I think now every live stream will be better than the last one. And so today, remember, we also got a big giveaway, because if we reach 1,000 viewers this tonight, we will be giving away one of the new Uncle Scrooge figurines. And at the moment, we're at 168 viewers across all platforms. So yeah, keep your friends coming and other fans and tell everybody about it, because if we reach 1,000 followers, we will be giving away a brand new Uncle Scrooge figurine. And so, let me present you tonight's guest. The first guest, as usual, is our main star. That's Don Rosa. Here he is.
Well, I have to look over here to see what's going on with everything else, but there's my camera, so I guess I'll look this way.
Yes.
Yano was saying that the live streams get better as time goes on. This one got better just in the last like 2 minutes when we noticed that the sun was hitting this window over here. Even though the blind was shut, the sun was beaming down on it and it was glowing. So I ran off and got a blanket. And my wife ran up here and got a ladder up and put some tacks in the. So now I hung an Uncle Scrooge. I think that's a beach towel over that window. So we've been running around here like crazy. Well, here we are. The people who are on the, well, I guess both, I'm going to look over here every once in a while to see Jan or to see what's going on. People who are on the Facebook page or the group page know that this particular live stream is taking place in one of my 3 libraries. If you don't count the comic book vault, that's another library. These 3 libraries are they're the main libraries. There's books all over the house, different. Like my wife has cookbooks down in the kitchen, like 2 walls of cookbooks down there. I think yeah, in the great room, there's another big shelf of nature books, flora and fauna. But this particular room here is hardback fiction. I collect, it has to be hardbacks. Well, we'll see some paperbacks up here that I bought back in the 60s and 70s that I saved. But I collect only hardbacks and fiction. What kind of fiction? I guess because I am a comics fan and a TV fan, TV buff, I collect fiction based on characters. And that includes a lot of fiction, of course, the detective stories, adventure stories, lots of Napoleonic War, or just generally any war. There's a lot of historical war fiction that involves certain characters. Just so all of the books around me now are primarily or almost exclusively based on a series of books about a certain character. In the other room, we'll take a quick look at that, is I guess you'd call it the pop culture library. That's about, let's see, there's 3 main bookshelves. The first one is movies and television. The center one is comic books. I'm sorry, mostly newspaper comics. And the right one is comic books and just all sorts of pop culture. And in that room over this way, a small, it's actually was the walk-in closet to this bedroom. But when we moved in, I turned this bedroom into a library, and I turned the walk-in closet into a walk-in library, a small one. And that's like research materials in there and some really special books that I'll be proud to show you. But now I guess for the first few minutes or half hour, or however long it takes. Now on the group page, I did a large photo album that shows every single person, every single shelf, or groups of shelves here, a detailed photo of just what's on the shelf for the people who are really interested in asking me questions about the books or maybe even seeing certain books. But now I'm going to grasp that camera by its tripod. That's always painful. And I'm going to walk around and just give the rest of everyone a look at what's on the shelves in case they want to ask me about it. Then when we're done, people can ask questions about the books they see or questions about anything about books that they want to ask. But we can also go right into questions about the comics, which many people don't want to hear about these books. That's fine. So we don't spend the whole time on the books. Okay, Yano, I'm gonna hop up and grasp that tripod.
Yes, and while you grab the tripod, let me just quickly introduce our second guest that we have tonight. He will be with us later, because many or some of you might already know him, and he's our second special guest tonight, and it's Stefan. Here is Stefan. Welcome, Stefan.
Thank you, Yano. Hi, Don. Hi, Yano. And hi, folks.
Which one is Stefan?
Stefan.
I see him.
on your right side. No, on the left side. No, on the right side. Getting confused. So I will tell a little bit stories later about the new figurine. I show you some prototypes, and I tell you some more or less interesting stories. But let's talk Don first.
Yes. Well, and then I can go to the restroom when he.
Yeah.
All right. You have to work these things out in advance, so there's a plan. All right, so I'm going to grasp this thing by the tripod and take a walk around. Don't worry, there's no earthquake. Well, get a look at the whole room now. I can look at my main screen and see what I'm pointing at. So there's the Uncle Scrooge beach towel that's covering up the too bright window. That's what I'm looking at when I want to see what's going on. My main PC. All right, well, let's see. How quickly can I can't move too fast. I have to do this quickly but slowly. On the top shelf over here are, first of all, let's see. Those are a set of Edgar Rice Burroughs books. A complete set. Everything he wrote in hardback, either first edition or first reprint edition. I decided a few years ago that I saw these on eBay frequently. I can point at myself while I'm talking. And they're like $5, $10 for a 90-year-old hardback book in nice condition. So I figured I'd see how long it would take to get a full set of Edgar Rice Burroughs in original editions. However, the desk covers, of course, those are facsimile, because a lot of people collect that exact same way. They buy old hardbacks without dust covers, and then so right there, let's see how close I am. Those are Edgar Rice Burroughs paperbacks from the 60s, all with Frank Frazetta covers, or maybe Roy Crinkle. More paperbacks back there. Let's see. Those are you'll notice the one on the top of the stack is always upside down, just to protect the cover from bug poop and what, I don't know, spider dust. Those are The Shadow paperback reprints from the 50s and 60s of The Shadow, and then also Doc Savage, the other main pulp of the pulp hero of the 30s. And Doc Savage, there was a lot of Doc Savage. And then German folks and other Europeans would be interested to know that they did Perry Rhodan. These were so popular in America. Well, translated. They were coming out like once a month, not much compared to Germany, where they were at least once a week, I guess. But I guess they'd collect a month worth serialized stories into paperbacks. I'm desperately trying not to trip on this cord. So just quick, a very slow pan across all the Edgar Rice Burroughs. Those are the Tarzans. Pellucidar, Mars, Venus, and then lots of extraneous. These were the hard ones to get. I think The Lad and the Lion was the most difficult one. That was only available in first edition. So, all right, there's King Kong. You seem to belong King Kong bookend. So let's go down here. I'm not going to name everything, but of note, let me see how close I am. Yeah, you can see those. That's a full set of Charlie Chan books by Earl Durr Biggers. Then a full set of Robert Benchley books, comical essays. He was a genius comedian of the early 20th century. Steve Berry. Here's a full set of Lawrence Block books. Bernie Rodenbar, sort of an Arsène Lupin, or an Arpin Lucien. John Dixon Carr. These are in alphabetical order. I'll go backwards this time. Here's a full set of Bernard Cornwell. Now, these are historical warfare fiction. And the main character here is, this bunch right here is Sharp. He's been in a number of TV shows, TV serials. What else do we hear? That's Sharp all the way up. These are all Sharp books. What's this? Father Brown. That's a detective fiction of the 30s. Here's a near full set of Leslie Charteris's The Saint, who people surely have heard of in lots of TV shows and radio shows and movies and whatnot. All right. I'm skipping over, I think that was Thomas Costain, possibly. Here's Lindsay Davis, who did a private detective in ancient Rome series, comical. They were funny stories. Here is Solar Ponds by August Derleth. You can Google that if you want. That's a full set of those, hard to come by. Here's one of the historical fiction, naval fiction, David Nadachi. And of course, Sherlock Holmes. So we're in Arthur Conan Doyle. There's a very early Lost World edition. Here's some other historical fictions. That's my head that's casting a shadow. These are the ladies section. Daphne du Marais. Mignon Eberhardt, I think that's pronounced. And then there's a full set of Earl Stanley Gardner books. He writes Perry Mason. And those are really good. They're not like I'm not sure if any of them are courtroom dramas. He's more like a detective. It's really interesting stuff. Now, this is important. This is George MacDonald Fraser. He wrote about a character called Flashman, who a British officer, or an officer in the British Army, between about 1840 and 1900. And these are my favorite historical fiction. Not only are they the most well-researched, but they're also comedies. So this is the closest thing there is in literature to, I guess, Uncle Scrooge adventures. You really, I'm not here to recommend books, but of all the stuff in here, this is the stuff I would recommend most to a Scrooge fan. Here is a full set of Ian Fleming's 007, except for Your Eyes Only, which is only available in one hardback edition, a British edition, and for me to get one of those would cost thousands of dollars. So here's another Earl Stanley Gardner series called Cool and Lamb Detective Agency. He wrote it under the name A.A. Fair, so it's under the F section. It's too far. This is getting back in the corner. See, here's another. This is all Earl Stanley Gardner, carried over from the other side of the room. What was up here? I think this was. Oh well, can't take too much time with this. This is coincidence. There's 007 there, Fleming, and here's 007 here, Gardner. He's the guy who took over the license. These are written under a license, so sort of like what I did. Some people objected to when I took over somebody else's character and continued on adventures of the same type, but it's been done many times in other media. All right, now here I like to focus on this for a moment. See, I'm tripping on the wire. You've heard of Allan Quatermain from probably not from King Solomon's Mines, but more likely from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but that's all right. I don't know how many people know that here's King Solomon's Mines. I'm looking at my own PC. That was just the first adventure for Allan Quatermain. Just like in comic books, he was a popular character, so H. Rider Haggard kept writing Allan Quatermain books, and this is a full set of Allan Quatermain books right here. I like this. This is classic. This is a writer, and this book right here changed the course of literature from the late 1800s, probably till today. And I'm so impressed by this that I bought. This is the second edition of King Solomon's Mines, which is the better edition because the first edition was kind of shoddy. The publisher didn't have much hope in it because nobody had ever written a book like this. So this is the nicest one to have. Probably not the rarest, but I don't care about rarity. I just like to have the nicest one. I think it's interesting. It's been a long time since I read this, but the path to the King Solomon's Mines led between the Witch's Breasts, the two mountain in a mountain range. And I think the artist took that too literally here. It's kind of strange, but a little bit too literally. Let's see if I can get that back. Now, the other interesting thing here that shows you how things, they change, but they remain the same. This is still more H. Rider Haggard adventures all the way to the end of the row. Now, there's one other character besides Allan Quatermain that H. Rider Haggard created, and that was She Who Must Be Obeyed. The movie She, or the book She, has been adapted into at least 3 or 4 movies. And there was a smaller series of She books. Ayesha, that was her actual name. But she is a supernatural character, like a superhero. And the thing I found most interesting is you also then have this. Is that it? No, not that. Let me try to find my own. No, keep going. There it is. Can you see that? I have to, have to pull it out into the She and Allan. So long before Marvel Comics, people were teaming up their heroes. Okay, let's go quicker. Alexander Kent. That's another great naval adventures. Well, I guess I have to leave it up to you to see this stuff. Here's read the spines. This is Raffles. Here, I can turn this way. This was another one of the great gentleman thieves, imitation of Arsène Lupin. So what are these old ones here? Secret. Tony Hillerman, he's wrote about Native American policemen on Indian reservations. Somewhere over here, I've been skipping them. There's full sets of Dashiell Hammett. Here's one laying down. The Dane Curse. I read that recently. Got that off eBay about a month ago. Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler. He was up there in the seas. Okay, but let's see. I want to get over. Are we still going, Yano? I'm not looking at the screen. Yano is left.
No, we're still online.
Here is a full set of Arsène Lupin. You look at him sideways. Arsène Lupin returns. Okay, you hear that pecking? That's a woodpecker outside pecking on the log house. But anyway, I want to show you these. You see, I've got a lot of French authors here. And then the next French author is the famous Gaston Leroux. And he wrote some of the first detective novels. I think, who's the one, the author who's supposed to have written the very first detective novel, I think was Poe. This here is the Phantom of the Opera. This is a first edition of Phantom of the Opera. First English language edition. I got that on, oh look, there's an embossed picture of the Phantom on the, so that's a first edition of Phantom of the Opera. All right, I'll speed up now. That's another famous, or very popular detective novel series of the 30s and 40s. Let's go up here. Encyclopedia Britannica. Everybody should have one. I guess nobody's even heard of anything before Wikipedia, but that here's a, see how you're seeing this. King Kong statuette. It's kind of amusing. You see Fay Wray in his hand, and that biplane would have to be the size of a like a little ultra lightweight plane. It's much too small to be a Army biplane of 1933. Well, let's see. Here's some friends of mine. Picture they sent. Now I'd recommend these two. Also, that's the Travis McGee books by John D. MacDonald. Then the Archer books by Ross MacDonald. Alistair MacLean. They've made movies about just about all those books. Here's another friend, Vesa Keskinen, dressed up like Donald. Oh, some people are going to raid my bookshelves here. All right, just Ed McBain writes crime, the 87th Precinct, police drama. Here's Vesa again. That's Patrick O'Brien, Naval Adventures. He wrote Master and Commander, that was made into a movie. Here is that's Baron Orczy, Baroness Orczy, the Scarlet Pimpernel. I would not recommend those. They're classic adventures of, and you probably know who the Scarlet Pimpernel was, but the books are written by a woman, so the books are supposedly as told by the Scarlet Pimpernel's wife, and it sort of takes the edge off of it. But now this is one I like. Elizabeth Peters wrote about Amelia Peabody and her husband, who were in the Victorian age in the 1890s, archaeologists in Great Britain, in Egypt. They were British, and they really should have made a series of movies with Maggie Smith and Sean Connery about these. These are comedy stories also. Those are great. It's sort of late to make the movies now, but now here, people should, there's another name people should know, but not know the guy wrote so many books. This is Sax Rohmer. And the main character you'd probably remember or have heard of is Fu Manchu, the insidious Dr. Fu Manchu. He wrote the Fu Manchu books and a bunch of others, always about the Yellow Peril. Very, very politically incorrect. And then these are some of the only fiction paperbacks I've got, because the last 4 books he wrote were in the 50s, and they took advantage of the sexploitation art on the covers, and he invented a new character called Sumaru, who was a female Fu Manchu. Then you've got a full set of Ellery Queen books, written by Ellery Queen, although there was never anybody named Ellery Queen. It was a pseudonym. Ramage, oh yes, these are Dudley Pope. That's another excellent naval historical fiction book. And now we have Raphael Sabatini. You may not know the name, but you've heard of Captain Blood. There's 3 Captain Blood adventures. Our Scaramucci. These are all the ones that were made into great, great movies. So there was and the Seahawk, two Seahawk. Now, one Seahawk, there's two Scaramucci, and the Black Swan. That's the other one that was made into an excellent movie. But look at all those other great books he wrote. All historical adventures. I think these are in the 20s, teens and 20s. Let's see, Lord Peter Wimsey by Dorothy Sayers. And then my favorite detective fiction author. Oh, no, I can't. I'm right above my favorite one. But this is a good one. This is another favorite French author. I'll mispronounce it. Georges Simenon. And that, of course, is Inspector Maigret. Now, here's where I thought I was. Nero Wolfe, written by Rex Stout. It's almost full set of Nero Wolfe, but again, there's several that were only in hardback first editions and cost me, I'm still looking for them, but they're pretty expensive. Now, here's another French author. This is Fantomas by Marcel Alain, and there was another fellow, Pierre Silvestri. A writing team created these. I think there's 3 or 4 of those I don't have. Here's another one. This is The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh, also known as Dr. Syn. That's a full set of those British books from the, I think the first one was like 1920 or 1915, and then there wasn't another one for about 30 years, or at least 20 years, and then he wrote a series of them in the 30s, and these became very popular in Great Britain, of course, and then they were so popular. Let's see, did I turn this sideways? The one on the bottom was a licensed fan project, sort of. The title of the book is Christopher Syn, written by last name Buchanan, with Russell Thorndike's permission. I don't know, sort of, well, I didn't have Marx's actual permission, but in a sense, it's the same. He wrote his fan fiction about, can you hear the dog barking outside?
Yes.
My wife's supposed to take care of that, but she probably can't hear it. Yeah. All right. Ignore the dog barking outside. But anyway, this book caught the attention of a guy named Walt Disney, and he made one of the 3 great episodes in TV history. He turned it into The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh, a 3-part adventure on the wonderful world of color about, I guess, 1962. And I always call that as the greatest TV series that never was. However, I mean, that's all there was, those 3 episodes. However, the star, Patrick McGoohan, somebody I idolize, it so happens went on about 3 years later to actually make the greatest TV series that there ever was. I'll let you figure that out. There's Wilbur Smith. He did great adventure novels also. Here's my Tolkien section. What's next to that? You're getting in the shade here. I can turn sideways. That's The Lone Wolf. There were a lot of Lone Wolf movies back in the 30s. And another series right next to that. Turn sideways. This was Philo Vance by S.S. Van Dyne. Also, many movies made back in the 30s. Okay, there's a very paltry collection of P.G. Wodehouse. I really need more of that. All right, now we'll just kind of briefly go over the rest of this. This wall, well, let's see. Oh, I should let you see the kind of a room we're in. We're on the top floor of the log house, so rafters. Here's a big map of the United States. Looks like there was a leak in the ceiling and made a new river. It's not the Mississippi. I'm not sure what river that is coming down. It's a very straight river, right through the center of the country. And these come free with an Encyclopedia Britannica set. Anyway, this sector, those are bobbleheads. This is an American pastime, collecting bobbleheads of your favorite baseball team. This is, of course, the Louisville Bats. In back of the Bats is a full set of Max Brand, Western pulp fiction. And then the lighter colored ones, a much bigger set, complete set of Zane Grey, the other American Western pulp fiction writer. Okay, we'll zip over this. This is a lot of, Ellery Queen was also did lots of editing of collections. Those are a bunch of Ellery Queen collections. Then there's Bon Appetit magazines I collected for my wife because her hobby is cooking. Maybe I can get closer on these. These are National Geographic books. They would sell once a month. Nice picture books. Here's a full set of the Pogo books. Walt Kelly's Pogo books came out reprinting new material, printing new material plus reprints of the newspaper strips. There's some other interesting things. More fun for the family. That was that. Some of these are books with, I think, Dr. Seuss illustrations from the 30s. There's a copy of the Seduction of the Innocent. American comic book collectors know that. Oh, those are all the Pogo books. Paperbacks. Oh, this was Americans my age might know this. The Golden Book Encyclopedia. That's encyclopedia for I guess grade schoolers, maybe first to fifth grade. So about. There's lots of TV show paperbacks from the 60s. I was just talking about that show. And those are Mad paperbacks. Here's my shadow. I'm going around this spot. Oh, there's the Maltese Falcon, the actual one right there. This is a replacement for my lovely 1975 Pioneer amplifier that went out and is being repaired by experts. So now I got the old Sherwood out of the basement so I could still listen to my music while the other one's in the hospital. Okay, on the bottom there's National Geographic magazines, Traveler magazine, Adventure magazine. Well, I finish up this room. Let me go around this way before I trip on the wire. There's the 8. There I am hugging Scrooge. Here's a set of fancy leather-bound Roger Tory Peterson nature books. You can see all the subjects. Are we losing viewers? Or
it's about the same, but it's not very much today. Very many today.
There's the shadow. There's my wife's desk. There's Scrooge. Okay, one quick look in this extra room here, because there's a few things I want to show off. Got to watch my wire behind me. These are Time Life books. Use these for research because they have good articles, but lots of photos, which a cartoonist needs. Nature, geography. There's all my travel books that I was writing in the on the website, the group site. If I ever go to any of these places again, I should get a new updated book, but I just can't throw away books, so I'm stuck with them. There's the last 80 years of National Geographics. But I'm proud. Here's something I'm proud of. I've got to pull the wire. It's hung on the right here. I'm still not done with my French authors. I laid these out so I could get a picture. They were stacked up here in the dark, so I laid these out so I could photograph them. So here we have Jules Verne. Here's A Journey to the Center of the Earth, Around the World in 80 Days, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Mysterious Island. These are maybe second editions. These are from 1875, 1880. And then there's this one, which is a first edition that I treated myself to one Christmas. It was on eBay. I won't tell you how much it cost. It was being sold by a Jules Verne collector, expert. This is the first English edition. I don't have a first French edition, and I don't deserve to have one. The Frenchman should have that. I bought it, and I hadn't read that since I was a kid. I'd read the classic comic. I'd read the book. I'd seen the movie. And I started to read this with great joy. And the first page, the professor's name was not the right name. It wasn't Lindenbrock. And I didn't throw the book down, but I put it down gently and said, I can't read this. It's a bad translation. So I went and bought a good translation at Barnes & Noble. All right. Now I'll take a quick look. Almost done. But I guess I should take a quick look at the other library. If I can get the wire to follow me. Go out the door. Watch the wire so it doesn't. Just take a quick long view of my pop culture section. These are books about movies. Some of these are strictly reference books. I collected all these when I wrote articles on the history of television and movies, and there was nowhere to get information of that sort unless you bought some of these. Here's some of the ones that, these are just reference books for libraries. But now, of course, you got the internet. These are still have more information than the internet does, but now the dog, excuse me, I'm going to yell, Annie! Get the dog. Okay, sorry. And then in the center, that's TV or comic reprints, EC Library at the bottom. And then over there, you probably can't see it because the window's too bright. Newspaper reprints. Okay, that's enough. Now I'll put this back down right as I come in the room to point at the lounge chair. Looking at the PC screen to see if that's about where it was. I guess so.
Yes, looks good.
Still awake? Oh, he's still awake. Good. All right, you take over. What? Of course, first of all, I'm wondering if anybody has any questions or wants to see. Let me straighten up my rug.
Yes, we already had some questions. For instance, some people are interested in if you have any Agatha Christie books.
I've got all of them. Yeah, my wife keeps those in the bookcase. That's some more books I forgot to mention. There's two big bookcases on each, or one bookcase on each side of the bed, and that's all of the Agatha Christie's. Those are not old hardbacks. They are all new hardbacks from a set published, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Bantam, I think, was the publisher. So, and it was a subscription. You'd I think I got them after the subscription had ended, but normally you'd get a new one each month. So I found out about them when they were, I think, some years, maybe a year after the subscription. I don't know. Anyway, I bought them all at once and gave it to her. It was a Christmas present one year. How many books would there be in there? 75 books or something. I hid them all around the house, in different places. I think it took her months to find them all. So, yes, I have all of the Agatha Christie books. Or I should say my wife does.
Okay. Then some people wanted to know, do you have any Mark Twain books?
Yeah, I have to prove it. Here you are. The complete short stories of Mark Twain. The complete humorous sketches. And I've also got some individual books down here. Didn't I? I think I pulled Huckleberry Finn out. I was going to read that next. I've never read that. I know the difference between Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer, I think, was a story for more like for kids, and Huckleberry Finn was for adults. Now, if you've ever seen the movie A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, that's a fun movie, but the book is not really a comedy. It's pretty gross. I mean, it's a lot of horrid death in that, and because it was a political statement, I think it was. Mark Twain was very anti British Empire, so that was that wasn't the main thrust of the book, but that was the background, the reason he wrote the book. But the book is, maybe it's anti-war because the Connecticut Yankee uses his modern technology and kills all of the knights in King Arthur's Round Table as they're attacking him, of course. But I mean, he electrifies the battlefield and kills everybody. It's
nice.
It's pretty harsh, but it's good. It's not a comedy. Bing Crosby doesn't come out and sing, is what I'm saying. Like in the movie. That's fine. Okay. Anybody else book questions?
Okay. Yes. Several people now are interested in your J.R.R. Tolkien section. Can you elaborate on your J.R.R. Tolkien books and the
All right, I'll
editions
tell you
that
my
you have?
experience. So I was, what about, I think my original editions, they're up there someplace in back of the Edgar Rice Burroughs. I've still got them. Probably those are the most read editions. An American edition came out probably about 1965. Of course, the original editions would be, what, 10 years earlier or so? But those are the ones that I think really made Tolkien popular. They were widely distributed. I read those, and then I bought, I think I may have a few. I don't guess there's anything that's, are there any Tolkien books that are rare? I'm sure they put everything in print. I remember getting a few paperbacks that I'd never seen anywhere. I don't want to take time digging them out now, but the Silmarillion, I got some nice fancy editions. I had to at least get better editions than the paperbacks. So I got some nice, I don't know if they're any of the best editions. I don't know, should I show, because they're right here in front of me. I'm staring at them.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, and we tested this so you can, so I can show stuff. There's The Hobbit. That's H.M. Company. That's my, now I'll take this out. Whoop, dropped a couple of paperbacks. Yeah, that's no fun. They don't put the title on the box set. So you defeated the purpose of the box set. You have to turn them around like this, which is idiotic because the box set's supposed to protect them from the sun. But if you can't put the box set in like this, you're not protecting it. It's idiotic. So it's fancy. It's idiotic, but it's fancy. It's the same company, H.M. Company. So it's now let's see the two. These were sitting on top. Board of the Rings by National Lampoon. It was the Harvard Lampoon in those days. And that's just understanding Tolkien. All right, I'm going to waste time because I want to put these books back. All right, so that's my Tolkien. I don't know what they wanted to know. Just wanted me to prove that I have my Tolkien. I don't mind.
Yes, they wanted to know more about it.
And what else?
Also there, I think people from Finland are particularly interested in why you have photos of this person on your shelf.
Eska Keskinen?
Yes.
Because he invited me to do some signings at his department store.
For people who are not from Finland, can you elaborate who he is? Is he like a reality TV?
On what Finnish people think he's like. I don't think they a little bit like a Donald Trump, but not really. But he's a nice guy. But he's sort of foolish. He's regarded as being sort of foolish, and he inherited his money from his father, who established this wonderful department store way out in, what's the name of the town? Lahti, or no, that's somewhere else. But he's, of course, out of jealousy and envy, people want to make fun of him because he inherited his money and he's very wealthy and he does silly things. But I visited him a couple of times, and I have no intention to go back to visit because we didn't do that well selling books at his store. So I'm not going to say this because I hope in fact, he invites me back all the time. And I keep saying, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, don't have time. But he's a nice fella. He's a very nice fella. He's a country boy. He's a simple country boy. And people shouldn't think so ill of him. I don't think, of course, I don't live in Finland, so I don't know I don't get the news every day about what he does. But I still get nice emails from him. Once or twice a year, and I like the guy. The other Finns I talked to, he says, "You've met Vesa Keskinen, isn't he awful?" I said, "No, he's a nice fella." And then of course there's Thomas, is the other Finn whose picture's up there, and of course he's a really nice guy, and everybody knows that. It's Vesa that people kind of suspicious of. But Vesa is a really nice guy, and he wants people to think he likes to brag that he's the Finland's biggest Donald Duck fan. And of course, there's lots and lots of people in Finland are Finland's biggest Donald Duck fans. So, but he's one of them. Well, I don't want to get in the conversation. I would ask, what's the current idea in the Finnish media about poor Vesa Keskinen? I don't even know what he's up to now. I hope he's doing well. I like him. But that's why I have, why do I have pictures? That one he sent me, the one where he's hugging his little girlie from Brazil, I think. And the other one where he's dressed as Donald Duck, he has that in every room in his hotel, sitting on the desk. And I stole that one. It was so cute, I had to have one. Okay.
Okay. You're
on that. Oh, about 45 minutes. I mean,
okay.
looking around books.
Somebody asked if your globe next to you is that one of those bar globes. Is it a mini bar?
Oh no, no. But I would have something to say about this too. I started to notice. I bought this, I don't know, 30 years ago. Or maybe when I moved in here and I knew I was going to have one room with a library. You have to have a leather chair, a recline. I'm sorry, I keep looking over at Liana. I should look here. I have to have a leather chair and a globe next to it. And I actually do. I use it a lot while I'm reading, reading the historical fiction books, especially. Of course, when I'm reading, I'm leaning back. So here, let's show how this is how I read. Yes. Oh, that would be right here. Seriously, that's why it's here. And like right near at hand, I've got my Webster's New World Dictionary. When I come across words I don't know, and then the book of a sea of words, all about the nautical terminologies. I need to know which one's really, you have to read like 10 or 20 of these nautical historical fiction books before you can start to understand what's happening, because it's like reading science fiction. The way that the great sailing ships moved with only wind power was more than just raising a sail. I mean, it was a science that people would have to study for decades to know exactly how to do it. I can show you. Let's see. Like right here. See, at the front of every Patrick O'Brian book, it gives you this. I have to look and see. See, it shows you all the sails and the names of all the sails. So when you read the book and they're using these names, you can hurry back here and say, aha. And some of the other Patrick O'Brian books will have another 10 pages of pictures of sailing ships. So when the sailing ship, there's a reference to a sailing ship in the text. I can't get it. Oh, this is the one I was reading. Okay, I'll put it right back here. Okay, also, now you ask me that, I have to jump up here because it's all right here within arm's reach. Almost within arm's reach. Flashman. Let's see if I can show this to you. These are the historical fiction of Flashman, Harry Flashman. Now there's, of course, they give you lots of maps. I love maps. Everybody loves maps. Well, no, modern kids don't even know what a map is. They have GPS. Oh, well. I notice people don't even know how to read maps anymore. Well, anyway, old people like me, we like maps because we know how to read them. And when there's no electricity, we can still find out where we're going. So anyway, there's the story. And then the story ends, and you have a few appendixes. And then you have the notes. And he makes a note on every actual thing he uses and tells you a story about each reference. This is like what I do with The Life of Scrooge texts and the more expensive books, the nice books that I keep trying to get people to buy instead of the ones they grew up with, to buy in addition to the ones they grew up with. And I write, well, I don't write appendixes like this, but see, that's just a note. So how many of those are there? He goes on note number 78, note number 81, These are incredible books. And they're funny. They're comedies. They're tongue-in-cheek. In other words, they're not out and out pie-in-the-face comedies. I'm going to put this back so I don't have books all over the floor. It's not slapstick comedy. It's tongue-in-cheek. In other words, you're supposed to see the humor in the situation. Okay, these are excellent questions.
Okay, somebody from Greece is asking if the little puppet next to your stereo, is it like a traditional Greek character?
No, that's my head on a traditional Greek costume character. That's a fan made. Yeah, I should have mentioned before I started, you'd see lots of things fans have sent me sitting on these shelves. Just like when we're in the studio, there's stuff fans send me. I've got to find places so I don't put them in a drawer. I put them on a shelf where I can see them. There's like one on every shelf. I'd pick the camera back up again, but I think people were getting dizzy. That's why they stopped watching. There's a couple over here, a little, what do you call the K-pop? No, it's the little funny Japanese type figurine somebody did of me. Photos people send me.
Funko Pop.
One of the only ones that I don't have here, I don't know where it is. It used to be up there. It was a large blow up of a photograph of myself, framed. And somebody gave that to me in Europe, and I said, "Oh, thank you." Does he think I'm going to go home and hang a picture of myself on the wall that I have to look at? Maybe some people do that. I don't know. I mean, I didn't throw it away, but that's one of the things I put in a drawer, and I don't want to hang a photo of myself on the wall. I'm not. We may have had a president who was a narcissistic, but I'm a Democrat, so. There's a Greek. Lots of things up there. There's more. Go ahead.
Okay, so people are also interested if you, how much of a percentage did you actually read of your collection, or is it just for collecting, or have you read most of them, and also what are you reading at the moment right now?
I guess they asked that before I showed. That was The Post Captain by Patrick O'Brian. I was going to say this is the second in the series. And why am I so not quite into the Captain Aubrey adventures? Because I'd already listened to all these back in the days when I was doing the comics. When I would be the drawing stage, I would listen to recorded books. And I listened to most all of these already. So it's just now I'm starting to reread them. And what am I reading now? This next, that's what I'm reading now. And the next two things here are the things I read when I finish a chapter and it's not quite time for second sleep yet. They can ask me about first and second sleep if they want to. And this would be about like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. And it's not quite time for second sleep. So I'll read an essay or two out of this. This is one of the Robert Benchley books that I showed you up there. Robert Benchley was a member of the Algonquin Lunch Club, was it? Met in the Algonquin Hotel in New York City back in the 1920s. And these were all the brilliant writers of the day and the wits. Because in those days they had writers who people would read. People used to read, and there were famous writers who would just write critiques or, like this guy. He wrote just cute little one-page essays that were published in all the biggest magazines of the day. And then he went on, I guess where I would have first seen him was in old movies. He would be a real, not the star of the movie, but he'd be one of the star's buddies in many old comedies, and he's always playing the same kind of character who's kind of fumbling and self-important, but always a nice guy. And but these are brilliant, very intellectual essays, but the humor is silly. And I guess the only thing to compare it to now, of course, is Monty Python. These are very brilliant humorists who did silly stuff, and it was still brilliant and it was still silly. So if you like Monty Python, you'd love Robert Benchley. I laugh out loud at this stuff still. This book's 100 years old, and it's still funnier than anything I see. And then just a random National Geographic I flipped through. And especially, not only do I like the old color photography and the way things were, the best thing about these are the ads. And that's because this was, of the day, a very sophisticated magazine. It was an expensive magazine. Weren't they $1? $1 for a magazine. Jesus Christ, it's like $30 now. So these were the wealthy people would buy these, in the sense that the ads in the magazine are for wealthy people. So you see the newest TV sets, and TV sets were in those days like buying a car. They were so expensive. Look at that, the Stromberg Carlson. And TV sets, you wouldn't know they were TV sets because they're in fancy wooden cabinets that the door shut. Because in those days, a TV set was a really ugly thing to have in your living room. So you would hide them inside of lovely wooden furniture. So the ads are the best part of these. So this is October 1951, as I recall. Yeah. So I got this out. I was just curious to see if I remembered any of the geography from when I was 4 months old. What was the first part of that question? I read all of these books.
Yes.
I read once where Danny Kaye had a big library, and people would ask him, "Have you read all these books?" And he'd say, "What the hell's the sense of having a library full of books you've already read?" And that's exactly true. I collected all these books at a phenomenal rate off eBay generally, but also flea markets and used bookstores, just in the boxes. And now I've got as many as I can fit in this room, and I've also got full sets of all of my favorite authors, up to the point where the remaining books, I'm still looking for them, but the remaining books are either extremely rare or, well, and if they are extremely rare, when I do find them, like there's one John D. MacDonald, Travis McGee book that I don't have. Can't tell you the title of it right now, but I could have one now if I wanted to pay $2,000 for a hardback. Now I might, hold on, wait a second. I'll show you one. No, that's not it. Don't go away. Here it is. Here's one I just bought. This would have been like $1,000 book, I think. This is the Dreadful. That's not it. Don't go away. Now I've got it. There. That said lemon. This is yellow. One Fearful Yellow Eye, John D. MacDonald. See, it's not bad. But this was on eBay. I had to pay $60 for it, which is a lot for most of these books in here. I paid like $2 or $3. Those 100-year-old Edgar Rice Burroughs books. Well, they're between 80 and 100 years old. I think most of them are. They're published in the 20s. They didn't cost more than $5 each. Nice, they're conditioned like this. But this was an ex-library copy. Yeah. I still am not. Yeah, this is it. But it was a property of the United States government. This was belonged to the U.S. Army in an Army library. Yeah, property of the U.S. Army. And I knew this would be a very slightly used book, and it was. It's like brand new. It's got some tape residue where the dust cover was taped to it. and it also had, there's no evidence now, the library card pocket in the back is popped right off. And I saw it was put into the library in 1978. It was rented once in 1980 and once in 1987, and then they got rid of it. People in the it's an all-volunteer army. They don't read. And this is very intellectual detective book, so I'm real proud of this. It's got shelfware. That's the only damage, because I guess it was moved around a lot. You know, what's this? Oh, no, I don't want that. All right, now I'm starting to get a lot of books I'm going to have to put away. Dust covers. Ask me about dust covers, but I still haven't answered. Have I answered all the questions about? I'm slowly reading these. Unfortunately, there will be times when, after I've assembled a collection of some book, I've always like those Baroness Orczy, the Scarlet Pimpernel books. I read one or two of those, and I don't like them. We talked about in the last show, because they seem so popular, I'd gotten, I think, a full set of Stephen King books and tried reading them. I couldn't stand them, and I just dumped them all. I got rid of them. I didn't even like looking at them. I'm sure some of these I'll die before I get around to reading them, but they're here. I preserved them. I enjoy collecting them, and I do sit here and read them a couple of hours every night and try to get through them. And I definitely don't stick with my favorite ones, like with the Sharp books or the John D. McDonald. I love them, but I don't go zip right through the whole set. I save them. I read maybe one a year, maybe two a year. The Nero Wolfe. I love Nero Wolfe so much, I just sit here and go through every Nero Wolfe in a row. That's what my wife does. I don't like to do it that way. I like to string them out. I plan to have these books a long time. I already have had them a long time. The Edgar Rice Burroughs books. I forced myself to read those. Edgar Rice Burroughs. I love Edgar Rice Burroughs. I admire him. I respect him. I never read him as a kid. That's the trick. You have to read this particular type of literature when you're a kid. Maybe if I didn't read Uncle Scrooge, if I didn't read Karl Barks when I was 12 years old, I'm not sure what I'd think of Uncle Scrooge. But I did read Karl Barks when I was 12 years old, and when I was 1 year old, and when I was 69 years old. So I idolize it. Edgar Rice Burroughs books, they're kind of dumb. They're for kids, but I respect them, and I make myself read them because I respect them. This is one of the most popular authors of the 20th century, and I think I pulled out the next. Let's see, what's the next Tarzan I've got? Tarzan the Invincible. I think I pulled it out a couple of days ago, and then I remembered that I just bought this Travis McGee book, and I said, "Oh, I got to read that. I'm ready for a Travis McGee." There's two ends of the spectrum right there: Edgar Rice Burroughs and John D. McDonald. I mean, that's the stuff for kids and stuff that's so existential that I don't know. The best parts of the Travis McGee is not the action and adventure; it's the little asides that he makes comments on the way things are and the way people are, and same. Anyway, so I'm gonna read. I intend to read all these. There's some that I might put off. Did I answer all 20 parts of that question?
I think so. Yes. So let's.
We were supposed to do Stefan, weren't we?
Yes, I have one pretty good last question before we switch to Stefan for a moment. And so somebody is asking, what's your oldest book you own, and which one was the hardest to acquire? Also, why do you have two sets of the Encyclopedia Britannica?
All right, let's see. Well, I guess the oldest book I have, if it's not that, I guess it's the Journey to the Center of the Earth. That was 1874.
Ah, okay.
And the most difficult. That was the most expensive. That was over $1,000. But I have not hunted books down like I hunted my comic book collection down. I'd travel all over the country. I'd go through for decades go through lists from dealers. These books I got just off eBay. I'd have my keyword for the author and the keyword with the titles, or a word from the title of the books I'm looking for. You see, if I put the author's name and one word from one of his book titles that I want, just those two words will search the trillions of things on eBay and show me that one book if it's there. So that's not hard to track down. So paying for it is, I guess, the only sense of difficulty. There might be something here that I had to really hunt for. I'll think about that. Now, why do I have two sets of Encyclopedia Britannica? I don't. There's one set there. I should have shown you, you might have glimpsed it, the encyclopedia, the Compton's Pictured Encyclopedia. That's another excellent encyclopedia. It's amazing. How often do you come across somebody who has opinions about, or, you know, encyclopedias? Oh, I like that encyclopedia. I don't care for that encyclopedia. But now you got me on Nero Wolfe again. Nero Wolfe once burned a dictionary because he didn't like the one of the definitions of one of the words in the dictionary. So maybe I got a little Nero Wolfe in me. But that's a Compton's Pictured Encyclopedia, was for like high school students. But no, you're talking about the books. Well, I guess you can see them here, can't you? No, they're right above those. I guess is what the person meant. Those were not Encyclopedia Britannicas. That was a set of the great books of the world. These are the books I should be reading, but I'm reading Pulp Fiction. You know, the Odyssey. Here. The titles are too tiny. These are, you know, Plato, Aristotle. I'm not going to read that. I like Zane Grey. I like Edgar Rice Burroughs. So those you get free, so to speak, when you buy Encyclopedia Britannica. And I just put them up there because I can't get rid of them. That's the same idea as those travel books. I'm never going to visit those places again. And if I'm ever going to go back, of course I'm going to buy a new travel book that's got the new hotels and the new information. And I even got all those together in a box. And I figured I'll take them to the Goodwill or I'll take them to the used bookstore, but they'll throw them out. So I can't do that. So I just bought another bookshelf, and those are like, now I call them souvenirs of trips. So I would, could give those to a local library. Of course, they've already got those. Those are the greatest books. That's when somebody establishes a library, those are the books they buy first. So they're just up there decorating the top. They're on the top shelf. I can't reach that shelf anyway. So, and it's a vaulted ceiling. There's a lot of room up there. So they're not taking up space. And the bugs need something to, maybe the silverfish will be attracted to that. That's fancy food up there. So maybe that'll attract the silverfish. Stefan, did I get the last questions? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm on my own now. I'm not sure exactly what to do. I can't see the TV screen. It's over there. I see the questions popping up, but it's too far away. So does anybody know where Yano went?
No, my picture just froze. I'm back.
Okay. So did I answer the question?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Well,
okay.
He's the director. He's the director. I'm only the talent. So I do what he says.
Okay. And yeah, I think we are going to take a little break from your room for a moment to feature our second star guest tonight.
I'm going to turn sideways and watch.
Yes, because it's Stefan, and here is Stefan. Let me see.
Yes, hello, Yano. Thank you.
Hi, Stefan. Well, maybe first of all, for those people watching who have not yet met you in person during events or have connected with you via email, can you just tell a bit about who you are, what are you doing, why are you here, and so on?
Okay, of course. So, well, I'm just a comic dealer. I have a comic book shop in Stuttgart, Germany since 1981. And in the early 90s, Don and I met first time at Erlangen Convention. That's, let's say, the most interesting and biggest convention in Germany with all the artists and all the publishers. So it's something like French Angoulême, but very, very, very small and compared to Angoulême. And well, he was signing there at the Egmont booth, German IHPA, and I was the guy who was running the booth and selling the books and handle the artists. And so we met the first time, I think it was 1992, I'm not sure if I'm right, but I think it was 92. And then we did a short signing tour in Germany together. The publisher asked me if I would like to accompany Don, and of course this was a great pleasure for me because I'm a big Duck fan since all my life, so I'm a big Barks fan. And Don was the artist who looked and who made stories in the traditional way of Karl Barks, so that was fascinating. And we did that tour for, I think it was around 1 week. And we had a lot of fun of it. And after that, we started doing more regular tours. In the beginning, every 2 years in Germany. And then after a while in other countries too. And in the last years, all over Europe, in Sweden, Norway, in Greece, in France, in Switzerland, in Germany, and a lot of other countries too. So, and then I was thinking about, okay, what kind of small little collectibles could we offer to the fans? I'm a fanboy myself, so I'm still a collector all my life, and still, you can see that in the back. There are some nice drawings, but I also collect comic books. And then we started to do one book together, so I can show you one. It was the first limited, well, let's say the second. I think the American edition was first. That was a limited edition in a very small amount, 222 copies of Life and Times of Scrooge. And we try to make an interesting product, so it's in full gold and it's in real leather. So the nickname in Germany for this book was the Don Rosa Bible. So that's the first thing we did together. After a few years later, we made a portfolio and more tours, and then the first figurine, which was the young Scrooge, so the Yukon Scrooge. That was the first thing we did, and then we made a glittering Goldie fitting to Scrooge. And now, after 6 years, well, finally, the Scrooge figurine, probably you guys saw it all on Facebook in the last weeks, was finished. It was a horrible project, but I'm so glad finally it came out, and thanks a lot for all the fans supporting this and all the people bought it. And I will show you a little bit how we developed and how the process was, and well, the difficulties, why it took so long. We started at the beginning with the classical way, which we did the first two figurines too.
Oh, Stefan is gone for whatever reason.
I just got out of my chair.
Don is leaving his chair, and Stefan is
I just got up, and I think maybe I caused that. I sat down and looked at Stefan, and he disappeared. Well, trying to get him back.
Okay, Stefan is back. But Stefan, before you continue, can you just try on the little settings icon under your image? There should be a settings gear.
Yeah.
And can you go to advanced settings?
Settings, audio output default, advanced settings, yes.
Do you have like something echo cancellation, noise suppression, stereo audio input? What is
echo cancellation? This is hooked, noise suppression also, and stereo output is not on.
Then try turn off the echo cancellation and the noise suppression, because people are complaining that there's like a ticking noise after. But now we hear myself to turn on the echo cancellation again.
It's on.
Okay, say something.
Hello, hello. Hey, Jano.
Yeah,
Now,
I think it's better now. Yeah.
okay. So
Yep.
try again. Now,
Okay.
how do I close that?
Not like this. One moment.
Can you see me?
Yes, now you're back.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, I don't know where you lost track or I was gone. So I show you again this wax head. So we try to model the new figurine in the same way we did the old one, but it didn't work because my guy who did the first one, he didn't manage to make some details. So the top hat was one of the problems. The eyes had been another big problem. So we tried this several times and it didn't work. So we thought about another idea, and then Jano had the brilliant idea to ask the community if somebody could help. And so we met Daniel Samuelson from Sweden, but living in the States, and he is programming on 3D files like that. He's a fan too, and he did a perfect job. So Daniel, I don't know if you're watching. Thanks a lot. So I show you what he did. After programming, he printed out his first prototype. I can show you a little bit closer. So that's in a very light plastic. Okay, there are no glasses on yet because the glasses have been simple two round shapes. So that was the first print, the first prototype. I can show you the pillar. So all the parts can be moved away, the pillow with the coin. So that was nearly perfect already. Just at the base, we had the coins and the dollars and the bills here without any surface, without any face. So then he improved it and he made some faces on. So the coins on the ready-made figurine are visible and they have a face. They have yeah, they show something that these are coins. It looks much better. But okay, that was the first step. Then we needed to have a colored one. So the first one was a hand-colored one done by an artist who did a quite good job. We tried to give some shades on the jacket, but that didn't really work. It looked like dirty. So we changed that plan and made just the coat in a red color. And you can see this one, the beak is orange, like it was on the Yukon Scrooge already. We would love to have that orange too, but I'll tell you that later. So this is the first prototype hand-painted. And I show you the base again. So the first color of the pillar, of the marble pillar, was pink. And I didn't like that. So some people said, yes, pink, that's nice. And I said, no, that's Barbie. I don't want to have a Scrooge Barbie. I want to have a gray one. That's I want to have a marble style design. So we changed that color again too. And, sorry. And we had two samples from, well, okay, that was another step. We had a German producer. It was the same producer like the Glittering Goldie, Bully, and they agreed to do the Scrooge too. But, well, bad luck. They went insolvent well after 1 year, and so I had to look for another company who supplies me with a license from Disney. And I found another one in Britain, in ESCO, who was a great help and a great company where we finally succeeded. And they gave it for a production to an Indonesian manufacturer who gave us 2 versions. That was the one version. Look at the marble. It's perfect. So that's how it should look like. But it's a sticker. And I can't show you the backside because you won't see that here in between. I was afraid that this sticker will get loose after 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years. So we decided to do it by paint. So the next prototype was coming, and that's finally close to the finished version. More simple, but in my eyes, it fits very well to the Scrooge, because it's a comic statue, so the marble shouldn't look like real marble like in real life, because this is a comic figure. It can look more simple. So in my eyes, this is very nice. That's finally what came out at last. But then we needed another Disney approval. And Disney was saying, yes, everything is fine. Besides, Scrooge has to have blue eyes, and the beak and the legs have to be yellow. So we discussed a while, and we could avoid the blue eyes, because in the comic books, figurines never have the blue eyes. In figurines, they have it, but the characters in the comic books, they have eyes like him. But the yellow color, there was no chance to get the orange. So finally, this was the final version. All this was created from the beginning, from a drawing from Don. So the first drawing, well, you know it also from some published images. So here is the original art. And then you have the prints together with the figurine. It's a certificate plus 4 prints. And 3 of the prints had been detailed drawings that Don did to realize the right proportions, viewing it from one side and from the other side. Finally, it needed 6 years to the finished product. And I'm very, very glad that people like it. I'm very glad that you support us. I want to thank all the people who helped, especially Jano, who did a great job. Daniel, who did a perfect job by programming it. And Inesco. And of course, you guys who support us buying that figurine. And now the plan is well, to do a new one, and hopefully not again in 6 or 7 years, hopefully a little bit faster. And I would like to ask the fans, the community, what do you think would be a great Don Rosa duck figurine? So if you have any suggestions, would be glad to hear them. In my eyes, I think we should have a Donald Duck, but we have to find a Donald Duck that looks like a Don Rosa Donald Duck. So if any guys of you have any ideas, please feel free to tell them in the next time, in the next days, in the next weeks. And then we'll discuss that on the Facebook page, and then we will choose one, and hopefully it will be finished in 1 or 2 years, and not 6 or 7 years. That would be great, and hopefully I will see you all back on a tour, not live on the screen, but live on a convention, live at the booth, and talking directly, and signing prints, having small talk. That would be a real pleasure. So, Jano, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I'm typing at the moment because people are asking, yeah, what was the problem with the orange beak? And I'm like, yeah, Disney requested a color change. And then they are like, why? And I'm like, yeah, they said so. And so, yeah, it otherwise.
Well, the color, mainly if you look at common Disney ducks, most of them have a very yellow beak. And I think we had been very lucky that we had the first Scrooge and Goldie with the orange color, because I look at so many figurines from Disneyland, from any places, and they have all this even more yellow than the actual version. I don't know if you compare.
Well, in the comics, it is actually pretty yellow. It's a bit more orange than on the figurine, but I took for the new figurine, I took the final beak color directly from the comics and chose a Pantone color that is pretty similar to what is used in the comics. So the actual printing color is very similar to the beak color we have now on the figurine.
Finally, it looks good. Anyway, for the next one, maybe we can get a color right in the middle between the orange and the yellow one. If it's a little bit more orange, I think it would look a little bit better. But I was tired to discuss that until the final end. And I was afraid that this figurine never will be realized after putting a lot of effort in it and so many years and quite a bit of money.
Okay, so should we ask if the people have some questions for you, Stefan?
If they have some questions, fine. Otherwise, I give
okay,
back
people.
to you.
Yeah, if you have any questions for Stefan, and let me just quickly scroll here if there have already been some questions for Stefan.
Show you the white one. This is the unpainted one. That's also one of the samples, the prototypes.
It got quiet.
Now it's very quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, Stefan is just not saying anything, I think.
I'm not that good in entertaining like you are, Don. You are more used to that. So I do that for the first time. So that's a little bit, yeah, different.
Okay, people are asking, Stefan, can you show us a bit of your collection that is behind you?
The collection that is behind me?
Yes, like your original art and stuff.
Okay, what you like to see? Shall I hang it off the wall and bring it closer, or?
No, you can. Can you pick up the phone and go closer to it? I think that should work.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Well, you know, my construction here is kind of weird, but we can try. If I'm gone, tell me.
I'll take over if you're gone. Whoop. He's gone.
And he froze. Is he back?
No.
No, he's back.
Back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I don't see anything. One moment.
You can also switch to the back camera if you want.
How do I do that?
You go on the settings gear again.
Yes.
And then on video input, you can choose back camera, I think, if it works.
No.
Otherwise, you have to do it like this. Now he's...
And he's gone. Oh, I thought I was gone for a second. And he's back. And he's gone. And he's back.
Now I'm back. Okay,
yes.
I do it that way.
Okay.
So, okay, I turn it.
What's he doing? Oh.
I don't see my own picture at the moment, so I don't know what I'm showing. So I think I show this one.
Yes.
So this is something Very, very special. That's well, of course, a Don Rosa cover, and it's colored in pencil. And Don did this well, a long time ago, especially for me. And he said he did it in pencil because it will never fade. And of course, that's perfect. But I said at that time, well, finally, Don, I like your coloring in markers more than in pencil. And I still remember he told me, okay, then I will never do this again. So hopefully this is the only cover colored in pencil. So I can be proud of that one. And it's a real nice piece.
It's the only cover ever colored, period. That's the original cover.
Wow. So it's even better than the only one colored in pencil. It's the only cover color.
By the way, we should point out that it's not a cover for Don Rosa story because people are already getting worried that they don't know which Don Rosa story
Which
it's
story,
from.
Yeah. So, and if you move up,
it's just some Eggman story. I don't know.
Can you make my screen a little bit bigger? Anyhow, because I don't see.
Yes, but you have to hold the phone horizontally.
Okay. Yep. All right. So here we have Carl Barks, and this is a French artist called Herman. Over here, there is another Don Rosa page. It's the last page from Treasure Under Glass. Beside here is Lucky Luke from Ashti. And over here is another 2 pages from Treasure Under Glass. Down here it's Will Eisner. Over there, Jordy Burnett. Spider-Man from Gabriel Dell'Otto. And here is finally my favorite. 100 Donalds. No, that's wrong. It's 99 Donalds and 1 Scrooge.
It's an imitation of the 100th issue of the German.
The Donaldist. Yes, that's a German Donaldist cover.
I can see your lifeline. You want your palm read? Okay, we're going to read your palm. I see great misfortune in your future. Oh, there we go.
So, let me check. Okay.
Yeah, I got fingerprints all over my face.
Keiner gibt schon wieder so eine Großgeschwind. Ich sehe gerade gar nichts richtig irgendwie.
I will.
Ja, danke dir.
Yes.
Yes, and of course there is a lot of more in the hidden because I can't display everything. But still a fanboy, still a collector, and after the comic books there was original art, and still it's a lot of fun to collect these items.
And somebody is asking, is Treasure Under Glass your favorite Don Rosa story, or do you just randomly have that original art there? Or
well, no, I wouldn't. It's one of the ones I like very much, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite Don Rosa story.
So, what is your favorite Don Rosa story, if you have one?
Well, I think
a little something special.
No, a Dream of a Lifetime. Yeah, that's a very because finally that's a kind of short version of Life in Times. Well, everything's inside.
I was talking the same time you named it.
Sorry?
I was talking when you named the story. I didn't hear it.
Dream of a Lifetime.
Yeah, that's what we both said it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He's got that art. Do you have that art?
Do you
Of
have
course.
that art, Stefan?
Still, I have that, yeah. But it's not
I
on
didn't
the
know if you knew
wall,
what it-
so it's hidden somewhere. But if people are interested in that and we have another stream sooner or later, I can be prepared a little bit more professional and I can show some pages too, of course. Would be a pleasure.
Okay, I should give the guy a testimonial. I wouldn't have just anybody be my and he's not my agent or my assistant. He's my partner. We do this as partners, not I don't want somebody working for me. We work together. That's the way I want it. And this guy was easy to choose. He's a real fan. He's not just somebody. He's trying to make money off of it, but he's a fan. He's a true fan, and he's a great guy. And he makes me eat too much great food when I'm in Europe. And we have a lot of fun. We're lucky we came across each other. I could have had. I mean, you saw the business managers Mark's wound up with for a while, and I'm sure there's lots of other artists who don't have somebody to work with that's so much fun as Stefan, and is also a fan. And
it was always fun. The first tours on the German highway, on the German Autobahn, I always bought an extra packet of chewing gum for Don, because we don't have speed limit on the Autobahn. And when I was very fast, I could always see he took a chewing gum and he was chewing faster and faster and faster. I know I was too fast.
And then I'd have to look out the side window. So I wouldn't see how fast we were moving.
But all the tours have been a lot of fun.
The expression was we have in America is went by that thing so fast it was like we were. No, what is it? We're just reminiscing now, so that's not why people are tuning in. So, what's the director say?
I'm actually looking up for people who are interested in the story of the Two Magicas cover. The story is called 2 in 1, and it's written by David Gerstein and drawn by Daniel Pranka. And it's from 1994, and for instance, it was published in the US in Uncle Scrooge Adventures 44 in 1997, or it was published in, let me see, Germany in Mickey Mouse 49, 1994, or in Denmark in Anders And and Co. 1994, and across Europe in 1994. And if you're interested in finding out about it, you can go to the Indux website and just type in the story code, which is D93138, and you will find all publications of that story.
Of the story, but not the cover. If they want the cover, if they're interested because they've never seen the cover.
Yeah, but they want to know what the story is.
That cover was only used on the Gemstone or Gladstone comic.
Yes, and it was used on Uncle Scrooge Adventures 44, and otherwise it can be seen in the Don Rosa Library books, for instance in Don Rosa Library 7, or in the Don Rosa collection across Europe, or the Don Rosa Sammler der Werke, or whatever it's called, in book 6. Yeah, so much for that.
You are a dictionary, a living dictionary, I know.
No, I looked it up. I know where to look it up. Somebody's asking, what originals do you have from Don, Stefan? What original art do you have in your collection?
Well, just a few.
Let me know when you need me.
I think we have to make another stream for that. No, not that many, but well, quite a few. I have to complete Dream of a Lifetime. I have still a big part of Treasure Under Glass. I have few covers, pin-ups, drawings. I have all the sheets and prints from the figurines, of course, all the products we did together, and a little bit more.
Somebody saying, as an American, it's great to finally see Stefan.
Oh, thank you. I hope, well, sooner or later, we be on tour again, and maybe I visit Don again and join him just for fun for an American convention, because he told me already I will be unemployed if I go there, so I just maybe can join him for fun.
Okay, and yeah, let me see. Stefan, somebody's asking. Okay, probably not. That's actually more something that Don is asked, but somebody's asking, how often do you guys get asked by publishers for new Don Rosa materials, stories, covers, calendars, and stuff? Does it happen sometimes that publishers contact you, Stefan? Probably not so much, or does it?
Not so much, of course. People from Egmont ask from time to time, but well, Don made his decision. He quit, so he quit.
Yeah.
They asked you to convince me to go back to work.
Well, they tried. But I told them it won't work.
Okay, well, I think then thanks, Stefan, for being with us tonight. And let me just, before anybody asks and I get a headache, let me just quickly show people where they can buy the figurine. That's at www.comic-Spielzeug, difficult German word, spielzeug.de. And it's also here written down in our image. So yeah, that's where you can buy the figurine, or you can just Google Don Rosa Uncle Scrooge figurine and you should find that there too. But please, please, please don't ask on the Facebook page, and don't ask on the Facebook group page, because like 200 people have already asked there, and you can just scroll down and find the link like 200 times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jano.
Okay,
when we go back to the Facebook page after this, there's going to be at least one question.
There will be some questions, yeah.
Oh, it's before we leave, somebody's asking if the color scheme on our walls is very common here. Actually, that's just a coincidence, and
that's a coincidence.
Yeah,
creepy.
Actually, I only have one of the dark red walls. The other walls are white.
Same me. It's one room and the rest is white.
Okay, then thanks, Stefan, and
thank you, Jano.
See you next time. And we're back to Don now. Let me see. Okay, and yeah, if you have some more questions from Don, now's the time to ask them.
We wish it was possible to go back through all the questions we've missed, but
well, yeah, I looked at them earlier on. Let me see. I'm just quickly scrolling through them.
I can talk about dust covers while you're doing that.
Yes, do that.
Dust covers. You'll notice there's not a single book here, except with a few exceptions, that have dust covers, because I don't like dust covers. I don't think they're part of the book. They're the wrapper for the book. The wrapping that the book is in the store. They're an advertising wrapper. It's like if some people are always asking their grandmother why she keeps the her lampshades in the plastic that they came in from the store. She said, "Well, that protects them." Well, no, it's you take them out of the wrapper. They don't look good in the wrapper. Or when she gets a new sofa, she keeps the cover, the clear plastic cover on the sofa to protect it. But if you leave it on there all the time, you're just making it ugly. Dust jackets, well, they don't protect the book from dust because they're vertical. The dust settles on the top. They call them dust covers because it sounds greedy or mercenary to call them advertising wrappers. That's all they originally were. It's just an ad to protect the book while it's in the store being moved around. But when you buy the book, you're supposed to throw it away. However, and that's what people did originally, and that's why book collectors, for a real book collector who collects books the way I collect comic books, I collect old books to read them and enjoy having an old book. But book collectors want the rarity of it. And of course the dust cover, because people used to throw the dust covers away because that's what they're supposed to do with them. Not many people kept the dust covers, so that makes it very rare. That's again, the Edgar Rice Burroughs books are cheap without the dust covers, but with dust covers, they're almost priceless. This room filled with books with dust covers would look so garish. They're not designed to look nice. They're designed to attract your attention loudly. But when you take a dust cover off a book, I mean, I admire this wall right here all the time. That looks elegant. They're nice. They're nice titles, nice colors, and they're leather or they're cloth. They're not leather, not many of them leather. They're cloth. They're quality. It's not just pieces of paper. I've got, can you see it in the image? I don't throw the dust cover away because I'm going to get rid of these books someday, and maybe somebody would like to have the dust cover. I've got the ones that, the books I buy off the stands that have dust covers, I put them in there. I save them. It'll be somebody else's job to go through all those dust covers and all these books and put them all back together, not me. But yeah, dust covers are not part of the book. They're just something to wrap the book in, put lots of blurbs on it and reviews and just something to catch your eye and keep it from getting scuffed up in the bookstore. That's why there are no books with dust covers here, except the facsimile dust covers on the, just for fun, on the Edgar Rice Burroughs book. And that's only because I had noticed over the years that people who collected Edgar Rice Burroughs, just like I did, they like to get the old hardbacks that were not that hard to get because they're big sellers in the old days. So somebody found a collector who had the dust covers and they made copies of them and printed them. And now you can get facsimile dust covers. And they do that for other authors too. For all I know, there's the people somewhere, some company someplace printing dust covers for any book you ever could own. You buy one without a dust cover, you can get a brand new one, replica. Okay, so what question have you found?
Okay, so here is one question again that was popping up before already. Somebody's asking, with Lee Falk's Phantom turning 85 this year, what does Don think about him and the comics?
What about 80? Would you say this? Oh, he turns 85 this year.
Yeah.
Well, first thing I know is that people should know is the Phantom is not well known in America the way he is in Europe. Of course, he's an American character. He was well known back in the 30s and 40s. There were Phantom serials, and of course, he was in many comic books and newspaper comic strips. Well, that's where he came from, the newspaper comic strips. And then he disappeared in America, just like so many things from the 30s and 40s disappeared, especially newspaper strips. I mean, Americans don't even know anything about Bernie Hogarth's Tarzan strips or Hal Foster's Prince Valiant. When I want to go somewhere to find fans of those comics, I'll see them in Europe because Americans just don't have stomach for anything that's old. They want something new. Europeans have more sophistication. They want something good, no matter what age it is. I personally have never become a fan of the Phantom because I haven't been exposed to it. It was never in the newspapers. Even when I was a kid, he was disappearing out of the newspaper strips. He disappeared out of the comic books before I was born. Small publishers who could get rights to an unpopular character like that would publish Phantom comics. Charlton Comics published Phantom comics. Gold Key Comics published Phantom comics. But these were not big sellers. So I don't personally have an opinion. I just, of course, I have a lot of respect for the character because I know how popular he is in Europe. But out on my shelves out there, I don't think I have any Phantom collections because I've never had a chance to become a Phantom fan. But I guess I could do worse to hunt down. I'm not even sure if there have been any American, in a language I can read, collections of the old Phantom. Paperback books. There was a series of paperback books of the Phantom in the back in the 70s. I've got a full set of those up there because I, of course, had heard of the Phantom. I have a Phantom model kit. There was a Phantom model kit put out by Revell, a model company, used to make mostly airplanes and cars. And they did a Phantom model, and it was a small one, and Flash Gordon. And people in America didn't know Flash Gordon or the Phantom back in the 60s or 70s. They pretty much disappeared from the newspaper strips. I don't have any. I'm trying to think of any stories about the Phantom I could tell. So Australia is big with the Phantom, but no, I guess DC Comics has got the Phantom now. I think DC Comics has published. I don't know what's going on in American comic books the last 20 years, 30 years. So I think I'm sure there have been some Phantom comic series, but I'm sure they haven't gotten very popular. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, don't know much about the Phantom.
Okay, and several people are inquiring about the dog shirt.
It's a dog shirt.
Yes. Why do you have the dog shirt?
I like dogs. I like Basset Hounds. I try to think of a shirt to wear at these live streams. That's not. I've got a lot of Donald Duck shirts I wear during the day, working in the summer, T-shirts, or in the winter. But I don't want to wear those on a live stream because those are Disney Donald Ducks. Those are not. They'll have blue eyes for one thing and yellow beaks. They are not Barks' Donald Ducks. I've got a few Barks Donald Duck and some Don Rosa Donald Duck T-shirts, Uncle Scrooge T-shirts that people have made and sent to me. But I just want to, so I might wear those sometimes. Since we weren't in the comic room, I thought I'd not wear a Donald Duck or an Uncle Scrooge T-shirt. I thought about wearing a different White Castle T-shirt. Maybe I'll just wear White Castle T-shirts on all the live streams. I've got 5 or 6 different old White Castle T-shirts. No, it's a Basset Hound T-shirt. I have Basset Hounds. Maybe everybody wants me to put the Basset Hounds on the screen, but we're never someplace where the Basset Hounds are. They're not allowed up on the second floor. They're not allowed in the comics vault. They're not allowed in the studio. Maybe when we do in the summertime, when we go out on the deck and do a live stream. And then if I let the Basset Hound out there, he'll run off and chase something in the woods. So you have to look fast.
I see a pretty funny comment here in the chat. Somebody's posting, duck fans looking for meaning everywhere. What's with the dog shirt? Who is that dog? Why do you have the dog on your shirt? And Don is like, I like dogs.
I looked at some other T-shirts. I looked through my wardrobe like a prima donna because I'm going to go on TV. I see lovely Finnish Aku Anka shirts I've got, and I saw a shirt from the Danish Donaldus Society, and I saw a shirt, but I said, no, I don't want to wear those shirts. Those are targeting specific countries. I have to have a multinational shirt. Basset Hounds are multinational. So actually, this is a Finnish Basset Hound shirt.
Okay, we have some questions that we might need to address again, even though we already talked about it in the first live stream, but there's still some people are asking, are there some unused stories that you never get to make? Would you want to do more stories? And then somebody is saying, no, Don can't do any more stories. He's partially blind, even though you aren't partially blind. And
that's a person who wasn't watching one of the last live streams.
Yes.
So why should he open his big mouth if he's not watching the other live stream? This is what you have to watch out for on the internet, folks. Know-it-alls who don't know nothing.
Okay, just so we're certain, Don is not partially blind.
Want me to walk around without bumping into something? No, sure. We have to tell the same stories over on each. I'm not partially blind. I had. I'm not even. I had a retinal detachment, and went through eye operations and had If you look at pictures of me from 10, 20 years ago, I had big, call them Coke bottom glasses, big, thick glasses, because I was extremely nearsighted. People who are extremely nearsighted have very weak retinas because the nearsightedness is caused by the distortion of the eyeball. So I wasn't expecting this like I should have been. Nobody ever warned me. And in 2008, so it's already been some years ago, I had a serious retinal detachment, and they just barely fixed that. And then I had cataract surgery and lens replacement in one eye. And then a year later, I had it in the other eye, which was good because my eyes weren't matching up too well. So now I see very thin glasses. And I mean, I can see, I'm so partially blind that I don't even need glasses. I can see fine. I like glasses. I've worn them since I was a little kid. They're part of my look. And of course, it improves the vision slightly, but I don't really need them. I like wearing them, and I'm not the least bit blind. I see extremely well. This eye I have a little trouble with because it's the image is clear, but it's distorted. So it can't match up perfectly with this eye, but it matches up well enough. I mean, I can read the titles on the books all the way over there. I can read the titles on the books back here. I can read the titles on the stack of books that the camera's sitting on right there. I can read, well, that's right next to me. So I'm not blind at all. I can't see, now I can't see up close. I am farsighted now. I am not nearsighted. So that's why I can't, another reason is I don't want to keep drawing comics. Well, you can see all that explained on the internet if you go to Why I Quit, Don Rosa, Why I Quit. Google that. But it's very difficult to draw. I used to draw Scrooge that big on the, tiny. I can't do that anymore, and I don't want to try. I still can draw for fans at conventions. I can draw great big sloppy Scrooge faces, in 10 seconds. I can private commissions. I can spend some hours doing a large Scrooge. That's not hard. But who is it? Which one of you is that? Stop telling people I'm partially blind. Yes, I see you. Nope.
Okay, we have another question. I'm not sure if the person actually wants to know it, but he's asking, what does Don think about tattoos? I'm planning on doing a half sleeve of Scrooge and Goldie.
Okay, tattoos, good. I'm glad you asked this because I get asked this all the time and it gets me very uncomfortable. I come from a generation where the only people who had tattoos were drunken sailors and people on death row in the prison. I think tattoos are stupid. Don't do that to your body. It's a fad. It's like jeans with holes torn in the knees. It's like wearing your baseball cap backwards. You see people doing this and you think, well, that's a good idea. Of course it's not a good idea. You're putting indelible pictures on your body. No, that's not a good idea to do your body. But I mean, it's your body. You can do anything you want. So I don't go around popping off about this, but you're forcing me to because people are constantly. I mean, when I see somebody with a tattoo, I don't go up and say, "That's a pretty stupid tattoo." No, but people are constantly coming and they wanting me to draw something for them to put in a tattoo, and that alone doesn't make sense. Why do they ask me? They've got thousands and thousands of my drawings and through the panels of the comic books. Even if I drew them a picture, they'd still just have to show it to the tattoo artist. And other people recently have said, when you start doing your tours again, we'd like to come in for you to draw a character on our arm that will have tattoo. And I said, if you tell me that's what you're going to do, I'm not going to do that. I can't be party to it. But I can't stop you from, getting a drawing and having it. So yeah, so don't come and, if you want to show me your tattoo at a show, well, I don't know. I'm sure you're proud of it. Well, I mean, when people come, when people come to me at a show and want to show me the tattoo, I'll admire it. Oh, that's very nice. But if they come to me and say, I'm thinking about getting a tattoo of one of your characters, I'll say, no, please don't do that. But that's, you know, it's your own body. If you were going to put a tattoo on it. He wanted me to say what I think about tattoos. That's what I think about tattoos, and that's what I think about dust jackets. Now let's talk about something I like.
Yeah, here's a pretty interesting question, because somebody asks, I think we had a similar one in a previous stream, but here is somebody asked, what does Don's wife think about his comic book career and collections? Because last time we had the question if she is a collector too, but we didn't get into what she's thinking about it.
Well, it's not in her way. It's the comics are in the comic vault. My studio's in the studio. She shares these books, so she certainly does. It's not in her way. So it's none of her business. I mean, if it was all over the house, she'd have a right to say, "Get that crap out of here, grow up." But it's not in her way. I purposely put it, you know, it's not all over the house. But it's never come up because I don't put it all over the house. I'm sure people in Europe with small apartments, and they might have trouble with her. I don't know. Maybe I should stop talking. It's just not in her way, so she doesn't object to it because it's not in her way. Why should she object to it if it's not in her way? That wouldn't make sense, right? Does that make
Probably,
sense?
yes. People do seem to think so. Okay, here is a question. You might want to address this again. How do you get international? Okay, no, it was. How do you get international editions of your work? In the last video, we saw some issues of Trésor de Picsou. We have here in newsstands in France. So, from good publishers, you're usually sent them.
The nice publishers send me copies. How do I get copies of when Picsou, the fans? How do I get copies of the Chinese editions? Fans. How do I? And it used to be strictly fans. The publishers would never send me copies. Now the publishers who want to use my work and they want to put my name on it, that's one of the conditions. They have to send me at least one copy. All I need is one copy. I've got a closet full. Some of them, you know, most authors naturally are entitled to like 30 free copies of all their books. And I really just want one. Because they're in Europe, I can't. If they sent me 30, I don't have anybody to give them to. If they're not in English, I don't even. And even if they were in English, I wouldn't know who to give them to, because I don't know people who read comics. So I got a whole walk-in closet over there in the studio. We showed it to the people who were at the last live stream.
Yes.
And you know, if some Europeans want to drive up here with some empty suitcases, they can load them up and take them away. But you're talking about how do I get them? So, and I'll say that I'd like one copy. Now I say that now generally, the problem is these publishers are not used to sending, the Disney publishers, let's put it that way, are not used to sending copies to the writers and artists. I don't think they don't. I guess they don't do hardback books of many other. Well, they do Karl Barks hardback books, but Karl Barks doesn't want copies any longer, so you don't have to. But and the only other books they do generally, for whatever reasons, are Don Rosa books, and I'd like one copy. But what I was going to say is they don't have any experience sending copies of books to anybody. So there's one particular publisher in particular that they just have somebody, they put one book in a box this big, and it'll just all the way across the Atlantic Ocean be bouncing all over the thing. So now what I do is I tell publishers to send me 3 copies. And even if they wrap them poorly, it's pretty safe that the book in the middle is going to be undamaged. And I can throw the other 2 in the closet and wait for somebody to come by with empty suitcases. But I don't know what the answer. Nowadays, the publisher will generally, sometimes I have to remind them, but they at least admit that they are supposed to send me copies, and they do. And of course, there's some of the Egmont branches send me excellent. They pack them well, and everybody's different, every country. And then there's the countries who have no respect for, not Glénat, but Hachette, France, the Dutch, the Greek, the Chinese, the Spanish. They're out of business. The Portuguese, they're out of business. But I get them eventually. And I'm very grateful for the fans. There are many editions of my work, hardback editions, that I would have never known about if fans hadn't have told me. And generally those publishers that I'm talking about, that I just mentioned. So it's nice when I hear about my work published, and that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
We're already past.
Yeah, we're.
Stefan used up a lot of our time. Huh?
Yeah.
I'll go another hour. I'm always willing to go another hour. It's the middle of the afternoon here, so.
Well,
you're the director. He's the director. I'm the talent. He's the director.
Okay, we can go on for a little bit longer. We're just with a cozy 300 people today, so we can go on a little bit longer.
What happened to the 800 we had?
They left.
The comics vault? Do they want the comics vault?
Who knows? But
we'll be there next time. Next time, the comics vault.
Okay, somebody, since you just talked about Greece, now I can't go, here. Somebody is asking, in Greece, they always treated his stories as special, much more than other creators, but I'd like to hear about his interaction with the Greek publishers, because I seem to remember that you originally had a pretty good contact with a Greek publisher, but not so much anymore.
Well, yeah, that's it. What was the original? Terzopoulos? Is that the name?
I think so, yeah.
It was a family company. I went over and visited them at least once, and we went on a tour and did lots of signings, and had dinner with his family, visited his friends. Oh, and I had some great Greek friends too, who gave me some of these Greek. His son. We had a great family. We went to see, and then they lost the license. Or they dropped it, or they lost it. Lots of these Disney publishers, they don't lose the license; they drop it because they just get tired of all the bullshit having to deal with the Disney Corporation. Although Disney is very lenient with the European publishers because they make them money. It's the American publishers who get treated bad because there's no money in American Disney comics. But then he went out of business, and the new Greek publisher never contacted me. But apparently they know that to use my name on the cover or to use it in ads, they have to have my permission, and they've never asked for it. So I don't. I don't have any. I still don't get any of the Greek comics. There was I think it was a girl fan in Greece that sent me some. But I think that the last group I got from her was maybe a year ago. And the last I heard that the monthly Greek comic was like a Don Rosa library. I think my cover and my lead story every issue. But I think they would have they run out of my stories by now. So hopefully they're doing Mark stories. That's what they should have been doing in the first place. See if somebody can send you a quick answer. We're still going to be here for a little while. See if somebody can tell us what's in the comics every month now. Because like I say, I don't think unless they're starting all over again with Don Rosa, they should
Okay, Creek people, what is currently the status of the Creek magazines? What's in there? What
Comics.
are comics? Yeah.
K-O-M-I-X.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what the Greeks call the letters, but they look like a K-O-M-I-X.
Comics, yeah.
It looks like a K-O-M-I in 3 lines. So,
okay, somebody's saying in Greece, Dawn's story stopped last month, so it was seemingly
last month.
And now
so
they will start.
The next issue?
And now they will start with Karl Barks again. So it's always the same stuff, seemingly. Yeah.
Backwards. Backwards, we call that.
Okay. Let me browse through some more. Somebody's asking, what are your thoughts, if you saw them, on the old duck cartoons from the 40s? Were they ever of any interest to you, or not at all?
We never see them much. It's not like people in Europe see it. We'd see them maybe once every year on The Wonderful World of Disney, or on The Magical World of Color, The Wonderful World of Color. I can't remember ever seeing them. Now, we'd see the Warner Brothers cartoons every afternoon or every day at noon on the, they were syndicated. Of course, Disney never syndicated the cartoons. I've seen them now. I guess I don't think much of them. They're slapstick. They're not Karl Barks's work. That's not why I like Donald Duck, because of Disney. It's I just didn't think much of them. I didn't dislike them. I mean, there's cartoons I disliked. MGM cartoons, Tom and Jerry. I think violent things. Nasty, nasty creatures. The mouse was just as nasty as the cat. I love the Popeye cartoons up until about World War II, when they took over by Paramount. The famous, I didn't like those. I grew up on Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear. Hanna-Barbera cartoons. That's what we just see the cartoons we'd see on TV. So, but I love the Disney's animated features. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Bambi, Pinocchio. Those are magnificent. Dumbo. Up until you get around Sleeping Beauty was their last really good one. But I never thought much of the Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck cartoons.
Okay, we have another question. In the last stream, you mentioned that you like the Miyazaki movies. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I'm sure I said that person must have been watching. So it's Laputa. Not only is that my favorite Miyazaki, not only is it my favorite animated cartoon, that's one of my 5 favorite pieces of cinema of all time. I just was flabbergasted when they showed me that in Hollywood when I went to work for Disney Animation. I just got done talking about I don't like Disney Animation. I went to work for their TV when I went to work on Tailspin for a few months. It's Miyazaki's Laputas. Wonderful. If I'm not going to pick the camera up again and waste more time, I can go out right in back of where the camera's sitting, that bookshelf, my pop culture library. I could show you a whole section on Miyazaki. And there's figurines, Miyazaki figurines. I got one of the little necklace with the jewel from Laputa, the levitation jewel. I can't remember the name of it now. Some robot figurines, lots of stuff. I'm wondering how this person saw me say that in the last, watched the last live stream. Well, that's all right. We don't force people to take notes. There's no pop quiz. There's no pop quiz.
Okay, we saw an hour ago or so, we saw on your shelf that you have Asterix on your shelf. And
I just walked out there. That must have good eyes. Okay, yes, I've got all the Asterix.
And what do you think about the Asterix comics?
I love Asterix. I actually I saw that as far back as the late 60s, which they briefly published Asterix in America in the late 60s, like 64 67, 68, and there was a couple of volumes in my high school library, believe it or not. And I saw it there and fell in love with it instantly, and bought it from then on. I think I may only be behind one volume. But of course, they stopped publishing them in America very quickly. But then there's Great Britain with a more sophisticated clientele. So I've been buying the British editions. People talk about recent volumes are not as good as, of course, they're not going to be as good as what both Uderzo and Goscinny were both alive. And I'm not, even if I'd read them, I wouldn't offer any kind of opinion on that. But I think I've fallen behind on finding out what the latest British edition is. And now, also back in, I think it was in the 50s, briefly, they published Tintin. We call it Tintin, not Tintin. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but in America, it says T-I-N, so that's Tintin. I never tried to hunt any of those down. The original American editions might be interesting. They probably, not sure if they'd be expensive or if anybody's even looking for them.
Did you see that?
British editions in the 70s, so I've got a full set of those. I have harder time talking about those than I do about Asterix. Completely different type of artwork. It's sort of like when I discuss the comics that I grew up with and I loved, my sister's comics, I said, I can talk for hours about why it's so obvious why Karl Barks's Duck comics were so great. I can show you details and discuss it at no end. My other favorite comics were Little Lulu comics, written by John Stanley. Irving Tripp was the artist. I can't remember the art. But I have a much harder time explaining why I liked Little Lulu comics. I think you'd have to read them yourself, but they're very sophisticated humor, an adult level sort of sense of humor. And that's the same thing with Tintin. The artwork is very much like the Little Lulu artwork. It's very precise. And so I'm certainly not as big a Tintin fan as an Asterix fan. But that's because I don't give it as good a chance, I guess. Now, and other than that, on the walls out there, you're not going to find any other European. Lieutenant Blueberry. This is interesting. I'm drawing a blank. Who did?
I think it's by Giraud Möbius.
Yes. I like all that. I've got all that stuff was published by Marvel Comics back in the 70s. And I love his stuff. The interesting thing I always get into a discussion about is the name of the character, Lieutenant Blueberry. And I say, why on earth did this French or Belgian guy give the name to this tough Western character, Blueberry? They say, oh, that sounds like a real American name. I said, no, it's the hero's girlfriend's name is Blueberry. It's not a name for a hero. That's like strawberry shortcake. No, but it's a language thing. But besides those three comics, I don't think there's any other European comics out there because we don't get those. That's foreign stuff. Americans, xenophobes. We don't want something that's not American. I've got a full set of the first 10 maybe of heavy metal Hurlant magazine still down there in the comics vault, out there in the comics vault. There's maybe individual name some. I keep people. I look over here because that's where my PC screen is, where Yano is. I'm talking. What's another famous European comic strip that everybody in America knows? Let them name that. And,
I think the other one besides Asterix is Lucky Luke.
Okay, there have never been any Lucky Luke American comics, have there? I've never seen any.
No.
Have there? All right, I'm not aware of it. I know how famous they are in Europe.
Yeah, I think they're the only other really big stuff besides Asterix, at least here in Germany.
To my knowledge, there have never been any Lucky Luke comics in America.
Oh.
Oh, Corto Maltese. Have there ever been? I'd love to read some of that, and if there's ever been American editions of that, I missed those too. Now I'm not aware of a lot of stuff that goes on in America since I haven't bought American comic books since the 80s. So they could be sneaking some of these nice European comics mixed in with all those awful superhero comics, and I never know it. So they might have tricked me that way.
I think there was a Corto Maltese edition recently by, was it IDW? By one of the...
That would make sense. Those, you got IDW, so, yeah. You got Fantagraphics. Those are the sophisticated comics publishers.
Yep. Let me check.
So I'll have to look for that.
Downstairs room picture. Somebody is asking randomly about the telescope in the downstairs room picture. Would you like to tell us about the telescope?
Okay. I always wanted a telescope. So I went to the store. I don't know, maybe I was 25, 30 years old. Still didn't have much money. I never had much money. But I bought the most expensive telescope I could find. And that's it. And I learned out later that things like telescopes and binoculars and nice kitchen knives and certain things, you can't afford the really good ones, are really costly. So that's a piece of junk. It's just for looks. I never use it. Now, I did in later years. It was when I was selling, when my friend in California was selling my comic collection, my new comics, the comics like I'm talking about, the superhero comics from 1970 on, the ones I didn't like anymore. He talked me into, it was a good time to sell them, and he'd get me a good price. And, I mean, he'd keep the percent. So I had some extra money then, and I bought what I really need, because telescopes for looking at outer space. I need one for looking at, for bird watching, animal watching in the backyard. So then I got what's called a spotting scope. And the spotting scope that you would see down there on the telescopes on the right and the spotting scopes on the left, that I use. And that's an excellent spotting scope. And there's a pair of excellent binoculars over there. I also used to buy binoculars for $50 at the sporting goods store. Yeah, that's junk. You have to, a good pair of binoculars, hundreds, $500, $1,000. So I only was able to buy that and the spotting scope, and I had my friend was selling all this money, selling all those comics, and that enabled to continue that story. That enabled me to not just buy a spotting scope and a pair of binoculars. I paid off the mortgage. That's when I found out I had to stop drawing. That's one of the reasons that spurred me to sell the comics. I wasn't going to have a job, and that was I haven't had a job since then. I've been unemployed since I quit working, 13 years ago. So the only money I make now, I made a bunch then when he sold the comics. I make some on tours with Stefan. I get a little bit out of each of the Don Rosa libraries that are published. It's not much individually, but there's enough being published now that it's some. I get a pension there. I get my Social Security now. And I do some private commissions a few times a year. And my wife has a pension, and she pays for the insurance, and but we don't have any costs. That's why I had to pay off the mortgage. So there's no costs. How did I get on this? So that's what I did with that money. I bought a spotting scope and a pair of binoculars and a house. Let's see. That reminds me of somebody was asking me about this globe, and I started talking about the globe. I don't think I finished that story. They wanted to know if it opened up as a bar. And I was going to tell a story about, I started noticing when I was shopping for this globe years ago that there's only one company in the world that makes globes. You can check me on that. Replogle. There it is right there. Replogle. I don't know where they get that word. I can't find any company that makes a spherical map. Somebody once told me that they created a patented method for making a cardboard globe or something like that, or for printing your. What are those noises you're making? And somebody else recently told me that the price on these things has skyrocketed. But they had like all different sorts. This is the fanciest one I could get. Everything is kind of like metallic colors and very swanky. But I'd love for somebody to explain to me why this Replogle has a monopoly, a worldwide monopoly on globes. But they do a good job. You still there?
Yes, sure.
All right. Is that you smirking or something?
No, I hear it too. It has to be
You
something
do?
on the connection. Yeah.
I thought it was you making rude sounds.
No, I'm not saying anything.
Well, I have to figure out what that is. Didn't you hear it? I kept hearing it.
No, it has to be something in the collection. Somebody is asking, maybe that's something we can address, because we really got no clue what's going on. But can Don tell
Maybe
us?
It's Stefan. Stefan is. He's still there.
Yeah, probably. Can Don tell us what has happened to the second IDW Artists Edition? There are so many rumors about it, and since about one, I'm wondering if it's officially cancelled or not.
I don't know. See, I heard it again. It sounded like he went. I don't know. I'm not in touch. I try to send emails to the editor over there. He's an old friend. And he would tell me that he needs to call me about the problems there. And then it's I don't know, it's hard to call me. He's way out in California, and when he wants to call me, I'm asleep, because I sleep in like from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. every day, and so 8 p.m. That's right when he wants to call me at 5 a.m. Anyway, he doesn't call, and I'm an email guy, because for 30 years now, I've been corresponding with Europe, and that's easier to do with emails. They write me when I'm asleep, and I write them when they're asleep, and but we can't get together, and I just stop trying to reach him. I guess I should. I think I sent him another message a month or so ago saying, "Can you tell me what's going on?" And he doesn't reply. I'll try it again. Maybe next stream. Yeah, but there's absolutely nothing has been done, and any rumor you've heard is false, because I don't know anything. So there's any rumors is false. They can't just suddenly publish it, because I sent them the most important thing, I think, to people who want the book, or the most important thing to me for anyone to have the book is not to have the artwork, because they've got the artwork in lots of other publications. This is just larger and in black and white. But the thing I think is priceless, I mean, just for anybody's, not because it's my work, but just as this sort of a book for fans of comic art, is they published all of my storyboard scripts. So you see the whole development of every story, and what my original thoughts were, and all the extra deleted scenes. But that stuff is in such a pile of notes that it would take only me to tell them what page fits where, because there's multiple versions of the story. And since nobody there has ever contacted me to help them straighten all that out, then they can't possibly publish. So that proves to me that nobody has been thinking about it. And you want me to guess? It's Disney. They found out that their buyers would be in Europe. Most of the buyers for the original, and I warned them about this. Their buyers of Duck Comics are in Europe, and Disney will not allow them to sell it to outside of the United States. So there's nothing you can do about it. They're lucky they don't make everybody at IDW wear a yellow beak. Uh, so that's it. They have their rules, and but I'm starting a rumor. I don't know that for a fact, but that would be my guess. Okay, so stop spreading rumors about it. Nobody knows.
Yes. Okay, so I think let's do the last two questions for today, because they're questions about the future. One question was if we already know when there will be some international visits again, and of course we don't know, because
Internet
nobody
what? Internet what?
we don't know when and we will do any international visits again, like signings and festivals
Visits,
and stuff. Yeah,
tours. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No idea whenever that happens. But what we can answer is, because somebody asked if there will be more live streams, there will be more live streams.
Yeah, I love doing this. And especially the next one's going to be back over in the Comics Vault. And then I want to do the Comics Challenge.
And also, maybe if at some point more viewers drop in, we can still give away that figurine, because today we weren't able to give it away because only 300 viewers, but maybe
It's less than last time. Okay,
yes.
can people send in suggestions why we had so many viewers on the first live stream?
Well,
And
I think one
I mean,
guy,
obviously it's because I'm not that entertaining, but other people seem to think I am. But
one guy wrote in that he thinks it might have to do with people mostly wanting you to talk about comics and not about random stuff like your collections, but other people are like, that's much more interesting than hearing all the same comic stories. So yeah, but I don't know, maybe if you have any suggestions, if you watch this at the moment, write in the comments what you think
yeah,
we can improve with future streams. Maybe we can spend some time talking about comics, actual comic work, and then about collection stuff again. I don't know, but
the trick is we have to get a balance between what's interesting to the people who are watching and what's interesting to me to want to sit here for 2 or 3 hours and talk about it.
Definitely.
And answering the same questions I've answered over and over and over for 30 years about these ducks, I'm willing to do it because I know there's always new people who want to hear these answers. And I like to tell them about, but sometimes I want to talk about something else. So yeah, if we can find a balance between the two. We certainly didn't hit it this time because I love Stefan. I was fascinated by what he was talking about. I didn't know all the details about the figurine. And he did a great job presenting that, but that used up a lot of time this time. So I figured we'd get some book questions and then move on to the comics, which we just ran out of time. So, but we'll just keep Stefan out of it next time.
Okay, I think actually one of the problems is also that people actually don't see most of the info posts I do about it, because somebody's writing in, I did not see any post about this event until today, a few hours before it began. And so
did he also ask where to get the figurine, right?
Yeah, probably. No, but if you don't see all the posts, because I posted this like 3 weeks ago already, and then every few days. So if you don't see all of our information posts about this, please go to the Facebook page itself, go to the settings, turn on notifications, turn on always see posts from this page first, because otherwise Facebook will only show you random stuff. So if it thinks it's interesting to you or not, and also what you can do to see our posts more often is to click like on our posts as often as possible. You can post comments, because the more you interact with the page itself, the more often you will be shown posts from the page. And so if you only see one post every couple of weeks or so, that's something you can do to be more in the loop, because I really posted several times about this, and I announced it like 3 weeks ahead this time, because I knew that last time many people didn't know about it. And Yeah. So if you have problems with that, please go to the settings on the Facebook page and hit notifications on, and always see posts from this page first, because then our posts on the Don Rosa Facebook page will be prioritized. And also, you can also follow us on Twitter. I post the information there too. Twitter, I post them on Instagram. And so if you follow us across all channels, there is a good chance that you at some point, hopefully not only a few hours before the show, will find out that there is a show. So let me just go through some chat stuff again. Is there anything else we should address? Port numbers. Yeah, important to promote these streams more. Yes, I don't know what I can do more about it. So because the only thing I can do to promote the posts is like do a sponsored post, but it doesn't make sense to, you know, sponsor a post for like $20 so that more people find out about it, because it wouldn't make sense. But if you want to have more people see the stream besides you, support us on Ko-fi, and we will use the money to make some sponsored posts on Facebook so that it's more shown to more people. But otherwise, I don't know how I can promote it more, because I already post about it like every couple of days. So yeah, that's difficult. So let me check. Oh, somebody's posting Jano's hairstyle looks like Don's today. Yeah, thank you very much. That's because yeah, we can't go to any hairstylists since December.
I
So
haven't had my hair cut. The last convention I went to was in Vancouver just about a year ago. Last
and
time I had my hair cut.
yeah, and mine was just like 2 days before the first stream. So yes, but for me it's more on the side instead of in the back, because my curls will come out. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I think that's it for today, and we'll tell you all about where the next stream happens way in advance. So if you follow
It won't do
us,
any good. It won't do any good.
yeah. So, but yeah, at some point you will hopefully figure out
Not for everybody. Yeah,
when.
if we keep doing this with only 300 people, I'm not sure how many years I'd want to. That's not many people. We're not. Do they know we're not doing this to make money? This is just for entertainment for fans.
Yes, and
Stefan,
of course,
I mean, Stefan did a promotion for that figurine, but he's going to sell out of those anyway. He doesn't need to promote them. He's practically sold out now. So he was just doing that because there was so much interest and people wanted to know about how the process and stuff. And these are free. Jano needs to get donations so he can pay for the service, the streaming service. I've got nothing to sell, obviously. I don't sell any. That's Stefan's job. I'm doing this just for free. But if it's only 300 people, that's
yeah, of course, for us doing it, it's also much more fun if we have like 800 or 1000 viewers instead of just 300. Of course, we love to do it for everybody, but if it's a bit more,
oh yeah, like I'm saying, I'll still do it, but I don't know if how often I'll want to do it. If it's just a few, we went down from 800 to what, 400 to 300, you know, another couple of times, it'd be 50 people in the whole world.
But yeah, people can still watch it afterwards on Facebook and YouTube and all the other channels.
True. Maybe that 800 people realize they can watch it later.
Yeah.
And we can see how many people watch it on YouTube, can't you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's all right. All right, never mind. Forget what I said. Yeah, I forgot. This is all saved. Maybe they just realized they don't have to sit here and watch it. They can watch it on YouTube a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Okay, then that's it for today. See you guys next time. We'll keep you posted, and stay safe, stay healthy, take care, and see you next time. Good night.